Hello, hello, Facebook. How are you doing this evening? I am so excited to bring to you this bonus show for this week. I know you've already seen me once this week, this past Tuesday for my regular scheduled appearance. However, this evening I have something super special for you. So if you're listening to me, if you can see me, please take a moment, drop in the comments, let me know where you're tuning in from. Share this video out because this is going to be a show that you do not want to miss. So I welcome you all to Raising a Mogul with Tamara Zantel. I am your host, Tamara Zantel, and I come to you weekly with tips, tools from thought leaders that can help you better nurture, support, and manage your young mogul. And this evening, I have a special treat for you. Guess what, guys? I have a dadager, the first ever dadager on the Raising a Mogul with Tamara Zantel TV show and podcast. I have Mr. Vernon Moxey. Vernon is the Chief Operating Officer of the Taylor Moxey Foundation. He develops educational programming for university, and he also is a business, pay attention, an etiquette consultant. Yes, it is true. He is an etiquette consultant, and he is here to share with us, and I am happy to welcome you. Hello, Vernon. Welcome, welcome. Let's see, let's make sure we have, can you hear me okay? Looks like I got a little technical, are you there?
I'm here. I can
yes,
hear you.
Hey, how are you? Looked like I had a little glitch there, but welcome. Thank you so much.
On the screen.
It did pause a little bit, yes, but we're rocking and rolling. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. As I was telling the listeners and the people that are watching, I am super excited that you agreed to come on so we can chat about not only your amazing daughter, your superstar family, but also everything that's going on with you as well. Oftentimes, Verdi, can you see me?
I can see you. Can you see me?
I can see you, yes. You look great. Yes. Everything looks good.
Thank you so much. Let's see.
As long as you can hear me, I think we're okay.
Okay, cool. I can hear you very clear.
Yeah, awesome. So the reason why I was so excited that Vernon agreed to be on the show this evening and decided to jump on with me as a bonus show is because oftentimes when we talk about kid entrepreneurship and our teenagers being entrepreneurs and kids, raising moguls, I speak to and come across and come in contact with, Vernon, mostly moms. I don't have the opportunity to connect with the dads and actually get a chance to pick your brain a little bit and tell me a little bit about what this is like for you, So tell us a little bit about yourself and your amazing family.
Well, my name is Vernon Moxey. I'm from the Freeport, Bahamas. I'm from the Bahamas. I work for my daughter, Taylor Moxey. She's a 11-year-old entrepreneur, author, and philanthropist here in Miami, Florida. She's the founder of the Taylor Moxey Foundation, which keeps me busy. That's pretty much about it. I own an etiquette consulting firm, small etiquette consulting firm. And most of my time is devoted to helping building my daughter for the future.
Wow. And I love the fact that the first thing you say is, I work for my daughter. She's 11 years old. How often have you stood up and said that in front of a group of people and people kind of pause say what?
Yeah, I get it. I'm actually starting to get used to that with my family in the Bahamas. I was telling them yeah, I work for Taylor. And they in their mind, I think it's still processing even after all the success that she's had. It's that so you work for her. And I'm like, yeah, I literally work for my child.
I love that. So tell me a little bit about what that's like. So what is it like to transition from back and forth in one day from dad to employee to the same daughter, to the same little person that you're raising? What does that look like?
I'll tell you, it's funny because you wear many caps and you do it when you have to. Part of the transition, transition for me to actually go from saying, I had this experience a couple weeks ago where when we were doing the Taylor Moxey library, my wife and I were in the meeting. I chose a color for the library. I thought it was a good color. I'm
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and so the one of the sponsors, he said, "Is that okay with Taylor?" And this is when like reality hits you, when you just like, yeah, it's not about you, Vernon.
Check.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's transitioning the balance. It's really easy. It's knowing when to say when to actually be quiet, when to walk away.
That's
when
good.
To have, mom keeps the balance. That's for sure. That which is so important. You to know when you come home. We have a policy that we don't bring our business in the house as far as whatever goes. Yeah, it doesn't always work out perfectly though, because somewhere along dinner you end up saying, well, we could have did this, but we have a policy like there's a time and a place for it.
Mm-hmm.
It sometimes works itself out, but as far as balance, it's just basically knowing when to talk, when to be quiet, and when I'm needed. Most people I've learned now that I'm Taylor's ride.
I love that. So listen, that whole when to talk and when to be quiet, that doesn't just apply to being the employee of your child or the dadager. Like that's like marriage, right? Like where all this is all about relationships, right?
Exactly.
I love that.
It's weird because in totally different cultures where, the culture I came from was that, you talk and the kids do what you say. And now, my wife and I are free thinkers. So we raised Taylor as a free thinker, which in a nutshell, you're allowed to express your views and opinion with respect to the tones that you use. Right. But you're allowed to express, there's no hamper to say, if there's something you don't like, there's no problem saying that I don't like it, or this is how I would like it to be. Mm-hmm. And it took some transitioning, especially working for your child.
Right. I love that. Let me ask you this. So what color did the library end up being painted? Was your color approved?
No. I'm trying to save face here too. I picked this beige color, but bear in mind, this was probably my mindset that it'll look great. And so we sent this swatch to Taylor, and it was beige or orange. And Taylor's telling me, take a picture, she's in a homeschool group. So her response to me was screenshot it and send it to me.
Right.
And the guy's looking across the table. We live in Miami, so there's like a lot of this machismo stuff. And he's looking like, man, this guy's getting punked. And, and so I screenshot it, and she looks and she said, we're gonna go with orange. Taylor can be really diplomatic too. We're gonna go with orange, Dad. And I say, but I have to admit, it turned out perfect.
I love that. That's so funny. And I wonder, I was going to ask you like how you felt about that, but considering you obviously are a gentleman that pays attention to the details. Like I've seen, like, ladies and gentlemen that are watching, if you have never seen this man dress, like his style is impeccable. So I would think that your daughter would be feel safe with you picking the colors. But I love how she kind of like, we're just going to go with orange, so leadership. She's clearly a leader, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. She was raised, before Taylor was even born, my wife and I knew what we wanted for Taylor. And so it's crazy to see a lot of the stuff sort of fall in place right now. And part of it was her being able to make choices at a young age. This carries over into adulthood.
Right. Yes. I love that. So tell me a little bit more about that, Vernon. So the decision that you and your wife made to make a decision for your child, like what is that like? And then when she, as she grows, how does this transition into her being a free thinker and being creative? And then what do you recognize? What do you see in her that you all decide that, you know what, we might have something here, we can develop this, and tell us a little bit about like what she's actually gifted in, because I know she has a Taylor Moxey Foundation and she's doing a lot of really good things in her community and around the world, but what started it all?
Taylor, people don't know this. Taylor actually started, she has a cupcake company. That's what really put her on the map. The cupcake company is doing so well. that she has employees now. So now you order Taylor's cupcakes, and you get cupcakes. You order Taylor's cupcakes, and it's almost like Cake Boss. Like you want her to show up to deliver the cupcake. There's a fee now. So and it's always weird because you always have adults that pay this like,
go Taylor, I love it.
Yeah, it's this thing. I want to order her little cupcakes, and just like, they're not little cupcakes. It's a cupcake company. Now, these are the lures. Do you want to order cupcakes? It's fine. But the cupcake company is what started everything. And Taylor's been on every TV station that I can think of. But one of her dreams was to work with on the Food Network. So she's worked with like Carla Hall, Bobby Flay, Marcus Anderson, Paula Dean. Wow. She's worked with all these, yeah. And part of her passion is cooking, dancing, philanthropy. Right, philanthropy came along where we were giving. I'm dyslexic. I think a lot of that's been publicized a lot. I have dyslexia.
Okay.
And we were given to dyslexia awareness before the cameras came. But Taylor was doing a campaign one time, and I'll tell you the backstory. I think I remember her saying that she can raise enough money to basically pay for my dyslexia to go away. So
wow.
I didn't have the heart to tell her it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work that way. How old was she?
She was 8 at the time. Everything started when Taylor was 8 years old. So she actually started. She was selling toothbrushes, disposable toothbrushes, before she started baking. And yeah,
that's amazing.
That's a whole cool thing.
I love that.
Someone called me out of the blue the other day, some parent, and say, I remember, she said, Taylor sold me these toothbrushes, and she had her stump so well. She said, I remember reaching in my pocket and giving her $20 and saying, this little girl is playing me.
Wait, $20 toothbrushes? Yeah. $20 disposable toothbrushes?
She was selling them for $1 a piece, but she bought them for 10 cents and marked them up for $1.
I love it. I love it. So listen, really quick. So I just want to pull out. I love that this conversation we're having, and some of the things that I want to pull out of what you're saying is, first of all, where she is now, like you said, she's been on every major TV network. She's living her dreams, by meeting these superstar chef, Food Network, So you laid it out. I'm hearing goals. I'm hearing planning. I'm hearing you guys attacking her goals, and actually making her dreams come true as a team, as a family. In addition to that, it didn't start there. So she started with these disposable toothbrushes, right? Which some people would be like, oh, it's just a little thing. That turned into the cupcake company, which is a cupcake company. Like, you can think it's cute if you want, but basically what Vernon said is like, it's a real business. Like, she has employees. So I don't know.
$40.
Say it again.
Yeah. Her company started with $40. My wife and I'll tell you a story. We live in Midtown. So it's like living in Soho with all these shops around. And, so we would go down to Target every Sunday and buy these miniature $10 Barbie dolls. And I actually just got sick of them because she would strip them down and leave them around the house. So I really just got tired of seeing them around the house. So we get to Target, the routine. And I told her, I said, I'm not going to buy this toy for us. I want you to come up with a way to make your own money. This was supposed to be a life lesson. So we're sitting there. I remember we went to Starbucks. So we're sitting there, and I took out this napkin and wrote a contract on the napkin. And I told her, I said, I'll loan you $20. I'll give you $20. I'll invest in $20 in you. My wife said, I'll match that, and I'll give you another $20. But I wrote the contract on a napkin and had her sign it. And I was dead serious, like, you're gonna pay me my money back. But that $40 turned into, I think she bought the products, baked the cupcakes. That Sunday she took them to church and sold them. So that was $175. And I think now, her company's close to $25,000 up just from a $40 loan. That's just for the cupcakes. That's not the books or motivational cards that she has in her speaking.
Amazing. And she's how old? 11, right? 11. Like, so I want those of you that are watching and listening to really, kind of lean into what Vernon is saying. We're talking about parenting, and creating opportunity for our children, you know, sometimes giving ultimatums, you know, saying, hey, if this is something that you like, you might have to figure out a way to pay for it. You know, so like putting your foot down instead of just making it so easy all the time for our children to get everything that they want, you know, create the space for them to, you know, give themselves a break, or create their own opportunity for themselves, you know, and whether that could be a business that where their focus is making money so they could buy miniature Barbie dolls, or it could be so that they can, you know, raise this money and give back, you know, and Taylor has done both. But most importantly, we're talking about the family unit and the role that her dad plays in this. You know, and like I said before, one of the reasons I was so excited to talk to you, Vernon, is because I always see the moms. I always connect with the moms. I never get to see the dads that often, you know. I'm still here. I see you. I don't get to connect with the dads that often, you know. So usually the dads come and help set up and then they're gone. They're there for the heavy lifting, you know. But for you to be at this point and, you know, as a consultant and still managing other businesses of your own, but you also have the, you know, have dedicated most of your time to managing your daughter and helping her run her foundation, you know. So tell me what role does your wife play in this, and how does that work with the family dynamic? Because I understand she has a pretty significant career as well. Okay, I think, Vernon, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Did you hear my last question?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Okay, so I was just talking about the family unit, and so I was asking about your wife's role in all this, because I understand she has a pretty significant career as well.
Yeah, my wife's a nuclear pharmacist. She's a doctor, radioactive medicine. My wife is the person that she's the glue. We call it a backbone and the brain of the operation. Taylor's the mouth, dad's the muscle, and mom's the brain. So it's a functioning body. My wife's role is huge. I don't think most of what's possible. Our job as parents is to create opportunity for Taylor. I think every parent job is to give their children access and opportunity. Taylor's job is to take advantage of those opportunities. So I can get her in the door, but once you're in the door, if it's not sincere and it's not something that you want to do, or it's something that you're willing to put in the work for, it'll show.
Yeah.
So, you know, I get it all the time. I had someone tell me, "Oh, well, you're setting your daughter up." I say, every parent is setting their daughter.
Yeah.
Every parent is.
You're setting your child up for success. That's part of it.
Absolutely. So, mom's role is, you know, is the budget. Mom makes sure that the finances are taken care of. She's the brain. I have to give it to her. My wife is super, super smart. And I'm 100% sure like none of this would be possible. We're a pretty tight unit.
I love that. I love it. It's beautiful. It's obvious. If you all if you're not, you should be following the Taylor Moxey Foundation and their journey. I know that your daughter is amazing. Her Instagram is on fire. You get to see her, and even Vernon she's often sharing her dancing. She's just a gifted young lady, you know, and to watch your family function as a unit, it's clear that you're tight, and it's clear that you are all very supportive of each other. And I love that, you know.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was done.
Baby and I have done something over the years before we even had a child. It's something called intentional parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And intentional parenting is basically what do you want for your child? I think every parent has something that they want for their child. How do you help them achieve those goals? And how do you help them maintain it long term? Those were part of it. You know, I'm 40 plus years old. So, you know, I'm 41. So, you know, I see sometimes where the parents, you're almost competing with your child. As far as saying, you know, I had a dad ask me the other day, like, do you feel that you're competing with them? I say, when I was 20, I did everything 20. I enjoyed 20. When I was 30, I enjoyed 30. We're parents now. I enjoy parenting. I didn't even know this thing, dadager, was something that you could do. I was thinking this is what you do. You support your child.
Right.
You know, I need somebody going over a contract and taking advantage of my daughter's salary.
Yeah.
or the innocence of what she started. I didn't want that to be misused or abused, I should say. So as a dad, it was just natural for me to step in and say, no, here's how things are going to go, how they're going to go,
I love that. I love it. It makes complete sense to me. It makes complete sense. And I love that the idea of intentional parenting, how that comes into play, because it makes absolute sense. I remember when I was pregnant with my oldest son, I already knew, like, my friends thought I was crazy. And I was like, oh, I know what high school he's going to. Not that I knew that my intention was to control his life, but I knew I was going to guide him and massage him and nurture him along the way. I knew what that was going to look like,
Right.
So, and that's really what all of us want. We want the guidance. We want structure. We want the opportunity, to, think freely and move within our creativity, but with, a solid foundation and support, and that's.
I think that balance is so important to say, there's a big difference between guiding and governing your child.
Oh, I like that. I love that.
Fabian and I have decided that it's good for us to guide a Taylor as opposed to govern. I'm of the mindset that you're born with everything that you need inside you. So, I tell Taylor this everything you need, you were born with, and so our job is to help you, one, get better at it,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to monetize off what it is. Taylor's a giver. She loves to bake. She loves to dance. She loves to give. And, that's something that we don't want to stifle. So the goal is to say, okay, then if you love to give from the money you make, Taylor gives away 30% of her profits, gives it to, but the goal was to say, okay, then maybe I need to help you make a whole lot of money.
Yes. So the more you make, the more you give, right?
Yeah. And you won't go broke, because if you're making a lot, you won't feel it, But
I love that. That's amazing. I love it. Let me ask you this. First, let me see. Let's take a break real quick. Just 1 second. Let me just look in the group onto the page and see. We have a couple people joining us. Hello, Melissa. Hello, Pastor Q. I see your wife is here. Hello, Eddie. Hi, Annette. Let us know if you have any questions for Vernon. Please just drop them in the comments. And he has agreed to answer them. So I'm excited and I'm grateful for that. Okay, so I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I love this parenting concept that you and your wife have created, because I think a lot of times we as parents, we move with, we're just so busy doing this and doing that and making the money and balancing that and try to get to work and, the hustle and the bustle that life it just happens, but I love the intentional calm and structure that you all have built into your family unit. And I think it's very necessary, so if you all are listening and watching, like, this is something we all need to practice, because clearly, not to say that anything is perfect, we already know that, but to already, to wake up and know what the day is, what the possibilities are, and to be intentional about the moves you make, it's extreme value, so I really appreciate that. So I have a question. How odd is this, us doing this interview? Because I would imagine you, like me, don't have that much opportunity to be actually on this side of the camera, right? It's usually us off in the cut watching our child be interviewed or be fawned over, right?
My wife asked me when I was shaving. She's like, "You're excited?" I say, "Feels weird." Now let me tell you. I told this kid the other day, I've been from my official name now was Taylor's dad, or Mr. Taylor's dad. And I told Fabian, my wife, I said, I wanted to tell this guy one day, I was a pretty big deal.
Like, I used to be somebody,
Yeah. But you're Taylor's dad. This, being on the camera, yeah, it is weird, because I'm, like you say, I'm normally in the corner. You're doing great. You're doing
right.
Or when it's time to interview, tell me, Dad, like, you can go away now. So,
right.
It is weird.
I love that. But listen, we bring value, and I love, that's why I'm like all for it. Let's talk about your wife. What does she do? What is, like, let's blow her up. Let's talk about you, because a lot of times we don't get to talk about us. I mean, I think everyone understands, they know that if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't be, clearly, right? But like you said, we lay the foundations, we stack the stones, and they climb, right? They have a hard job to do, but hello, people, we're our management job is not easy. Vernon is a dadager.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to this term. I was telling my brother the other day, I'm not an American. So I'd never heard this term. Actually, when I saw you put it on social media, I actually asked Taylor, like, what is that? She was looking like, man, like, you didn't know. She's like, that's what you do, that, like a dad manager. I was just like, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's what you do, Dad. That's it. Yep,
Yeah,
you're the dad, but you're also the manager, dadager.
Manager.
That's it. Right. Yeah. So what is with this family unit and your wife having such a demanding job and you being a consultant and Taylor dancing and managing staff and all these things that you guys do on a day-to-day basis, what does that look like? What does your daily flow look like? And how do you
I would like to set up a camera in our house too.
and watch everybody run around?
My day starts at 4:00 in the morning.
Wow.
That's what I used to. My day starts at 4:00, and it starts at 4:00 because I get up, I can meditate, I can have a cup of coffee, I check my emails, I'll check my company in the Bahamas and to see how it's doing. So I get to do all that. I was telling my sister yesterday, I said, I do more by 9:00 than you do in your whole day.
I know what that's like. Yeah. And people say, so what are you doing? What'd you do all day? It's like, I've been doing this for a couple of hours now. It's only 10.
So by 12, I'm up at 4. So that's my time. I used to, in my business, I run at a consulting firm. So I would give, and all of a sudden you never really. Wow. So I tried doing it to the gym, wasn't my thing. So now I do yoga. I do meditation.
Nice.
So I'm not that good at it.
They're
gonna get on me. Yeah, they're gonna get on me because they're like, "You're really gonna clean that?" I meditate, and so, but I get up at 4 now, and so 4:00 allows me to take care of anything that Vernon wants, even if it's sometimes just sitting and doing nothing and just having a cup of coffee.
Right.
That's that. I look over the plan for the day. What do we have scheduled? Taylor's a homeschooler also. She's homeschooled. So,
okay. All right.
There's never a dull moment to say, we have a co-op, but there's always something to do. So, you're either going someplace or you're doing this or, that. So, I make sure that's squared away. Make breakfast. Mom is usually in the lab by 1:00 in the morning, so she's gone before me.
Wow.
So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Secret, so she's gone before me. At 2:00. At 2:00, I know I get time to go back to sleep a little. But anyway, and then it's get Taylor up. Taylor's up like by 6:30, 7. And then the day starts. Whatever we have planned, like we go over while she's eating. Hey, this is what we have planned. This is what we're going to do. Here's the game plan. What do you think? And then,
think? What do you think? I love that.
Never short on words. It's almost like this. I was telling my brother the other day. When they say I would teach and tell about rhetorical questions. What you think? You have the freedom, but you're just like, man, do you always have to tell me what you? She will tell you.
Listen, you created that. That was intentional.
It was intentional indeed. So by 9:00 we're into the day and we're doing it. Normally we're home in the house on a good day at maybe 9:00.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. It's late, but it's not too bad considering.
No, she dances, and within 5 days a week she's dancing for close to
5 days. Wow.
Yeah, she's a part of an apprentice group, a dance company. So it's like a step up, like almost like how they have feeder patterns for Alvin Ailey. They have companies. So she's an apprentice in a company called Miami Dance Collective. So they're there dancing for at least, I think, 4 or 5 hours per day.
Wow. Wow.
And business and school. And social life. That's the part that no one.
I was going there. I was gonna say, let's talk about social. Yeah.
That's the part. No social life. You know, I'm big on privacy or privacy when it comes to our social life. I had to tell somebody that Taylor the chef was a character. Taylor Moxey is my child. So that to separate the two. And so so you would never see Taylor sleepovers. You never see her play dates, which there are tons of them.
Right.
My wife has a planner for this stuff. We're going down.
You sound like you're like the planner. Oh boy.
I asked her the other day, something I wanted to do. She's doing a photo shoot this Saturday for Southern Living magazine. It's like a pretty big deal.
Yes, it's a huge deal, Vernon.
I say yes to almost everything. Now I'm learning to dial back. I say yes, and then I ask my wife, "Are we scheduled to do anything?" So at like 11 o'clock at night, I turn and say, "So I agreed for her to do the shoot for Southern." So she turns over and gets the
planner.
Well, next time you need to let me know. So I said, okay.
Okay.
So, it's a oiled machine that's not always ran perfectly. The good part about it is that I pay attention to detail. That's my job is to do that. My wife is very meticulous. Taylor's very outspoken. So if it's something that's an issue, we address it right away. And we learn from it. So, you more than likely, I would say, in Taylor's business, we very rarely make the same mistakes twice.
I love that. That's important.
That's important. Yeah.
Lesson learned, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
With her play dates, we have a rule that her speaking engagements or anything will never interfere with her play dates, her dance schedule. Those are things that we have. This is the agreement we had, that everything will revolve around those. I mean,
her ability to be a kid, allowing her to be a kid. Yeah.
That's a good. I feel like I switched the roles. Because I was on a forum the other day and I had a parents ask that to me, like, when did she get to be a kid? And my question always when someone asks that is like, define that.
That's good. That's true.
So what is being a kid? Now, if being a kid means doing nothing, running outside,
lounging all day, sleeping all day, video games, mindless behavior.
Right. That's just not the ebb and flow of our house.
Right.
So even if Taylor didn't have a business, Taylor wouldn't be. Those are things that, and it's crazy because most people, when they say that, or they say let them be kids, their mentality of it is the way they were raised. Now, I'm from the Bahamas. I was raised on an island. My wife, I'm 41 years old. So most of the time you look and you see your childhood, and you say, well, I think we were raised decent. But it's a different era.
Totally.
And so I take that into account. So when someone said, yeah, when did she have time to be a kid? I say, this is being a kid. Like, which kid do you know gets to bake cupcakes, hot dog with all these celebrities, hang out with their friends, go dancing, travel, make money, and I guess respectfully push her parents around in a bit.
Exactly. Wrong color, Dad.
Come on.
The orange.
Yeah, that's to me. I look at Taylor's life with a form of admiration to say, man, I wonder if I were in a position at 9 years old or 8 years old, my parents saw a dream that I had and helped me live it. Where would I be now? Where would I be now?
Yes. And I think that's important. I know we have a lot of parents watching, and I think that's a question that we can ask ourselves often. What do you wish that you had, and what desire did you have for yourself or for your former self? Just give it and pour it all into your kids. Not that I don't want us to think about it as living through our children, because I don't know if you have, but I get that question a lot about, are you sure this is your dream and not, and it's her dream and not yours? Kind of like that mentality of the father wanting the son to play football only because he never made the team or whatever, or the mother wanting her daughter to be a dancer because she always wanted to be a ballerina. Right. It's like, no, our kids are pretty clear about what it is they do and do not want to do.
Someone asked me, who's the baker in your house? I say, none of us bake at all. Who cooks? My wife's a good cook. I'm a good cook, but there's a big difference. No one's hired. No one's calling us to cook. So Taylor,
Right.
this is her thing that she wants to do. It's so weird because when you hear that, to say, well, is this you? Yeah, and it's weird because you have parents that work a 9 to 5
Mm-hmm.
to help their kids. You understand? In the sense of and I think the older I get, the more I understand it, that there can be a form of chest beating where you say, I work a 9 to 5, I help them. And then the approach where I shouldn't say I have a successful company, and
Right.
I was able to put my company aside, put my personality aside, put everything aside to say, if I were to try to say, oh, I'm going to help her with her business, believe me, it would clash.
Right.
Because what I do and Taylor, these are two separate worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put all that aside to say, you know what? I'm gonna help my child, but I'm gonna support you in the way to say, listen, it's almost like a reincarnation in the sense you're a smarter, stronger, quicker version of me.
Yes.
So you get to look and you say, wow, there's an admiration for what Taylor's accomplished. And I look at the younger Vernon and say, boy, if your parents knew what you know when you were 9.
Right. That's amazing. I love that. I'm so excited that the people that are watching have the opportunity to hear you say these things and for you to give us some insight on how you and your wife manage it all, and how you all run your systems, because that's really, when we talk about managing, I joke with the momager and the dadager, but it's true. I make fun of the name and all that, but we're parents, but we're also managing our children. And
Right.
I say this all the time, that even whether your child is a celebrity or a superstar baker or runner or dancer or singer, whatever, you still have the job of management.
Absolutely.
That just comes along with, it's like the manual, that manual we don't get when the kid gets here. It's like chapter 1, like managing it all. How's it all going to work together? So I want us as parents to really understand our role in our children's lives, respect our roles, and just just not be afraid to do the work, and I think the whole free thinking and the intentional parenting, a lot of parents, they don't consider those things because they didn't grow up with those things. So like you said, we're in a new day. It's a new era. It's time for us to be a little bit more creative in our thinking and our parenting and the way we are considering how we want to raise these children, and think about what kind of adults do we want them to be? What kind of teenager do you want he or she to be? What kind of mother, what kind of father do you want them to be? And start there, and kind of teach to that, support them in that, it's important. And I appreciate you sharing your experiences with us.
Look, life is happening now. My parents and my wife's parents, it was almost like, I think the mindset of when you get 18 now, they teach you responsibility. And, and so I was telling his dad, so I can't wait until Taylor's, I asked him, what age should I have her go after her dreams? When she's 18? So you've built habits already that now you might try to undo. So success is a DNA in our house. You walk past the walls in our house, there are quotes on the walls. I sent Taylor a text the other day that said, own or be owned. And that's the reality of it. Most of us Taylor's homeschooled, and there's a system, and you put your kid in and I have nothing against an educational system. Obviously, I was part of it, but I know the workings of it. Also, it is a system, and if you're not systematically controlling your child, somebody else will.
Right.
And so it's just that simple to say, well, if you're not guiding them and guiding them to where you want, somebody else will. And most of the time, and there are cases where it may not always turn out in your favor.
Right. You're right. It sounds like what you're talking about is making different choices, really. Like we have a choice,
Yeah.
and you choose what you want for your child, and that's exactly the reason why we made the transition to homeschooling as well. I mean, in addition to running a business and traveling and all the things and the flexibility that it affords, but I want it to be, my husband and I, we want it to be more intentional and aware
I've never
of
seen your
what
husband.
was being, Huh?
I've never seen your.
You've never seen him?
I know you're married. I know.
Yeah.
It's like some lady asked me the other day. She's for you doing. This was a couple of years ago. You do such a great job as a single father. I said, "What are you talking about?"
Say what?
And
Not that you couldn't be, not that you wouldn't rock your position as well if you weren't. I know your wife adds huge value, but I do think that for those people that are watching, like if there's only you, this is all still possible, right? It's all still possible.
I feel so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. How do you feel about being a single parent, single dad?
I got home and told my wife, I'm a single dad. She's like, what? I said, yeah. But she's heard it too, because when my business was building, I was constantly gone.
Yeah.
And I remember one day Taylor said to me one day, like, "You're always gone."
Oh.
But that it was sort of an awakening for me too, because you look and you say, I can chase money and success, or I can define what success is.
Yes.
For us.
For you, for your family.
To each his own, but success, we have our definition of success, where it's like we're trying to build something that when we're not around, when Fabi and I are gone, Taylor still has something that she built that's sustainable. So she's being taught every meeting that we have, she's in on it. I even told her, that I know it's not always fun, but just you'll understand it later on, and sit through the first few minutes of it, and if you want to leave, but I need you here to see what's going on and understand the back workings of how your company runs.
Right. I love one of the things you just said. I know it's not always fun. And I get that question so often. What happens when there's business to take care of and your child wants to be the typical child, or they're being themselves. They just don't want to,
Right.
Like, I mean, as an adult, there's days when I'm like, I know I have to, but I just don't want to. You know what I mean? So it's not always.
You're on. Taylor, we have a thing here that's like, do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do. And I mean, we preach that because, it's one of the things where, in everything you have it where you just, I just don't feel up to this today. And you just like, I need to do it. Mm-hmm. Because no one's getting up and going to do it for us, or for our children. I'm not saying that people have ill intentions, but no one's really going to go the extra mile. I tell my family this all the time. I know you guys love us. If Fabi and I were to, expire, I know Taylor will be taken care of. Right. But I say, I need checks in places to know that she'll be maintained. Yeah. You're not going to go the extra mile.
You're not going to do it like we can. That's it. Like we do it. And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That makes complete sense. So I have a few final questions for you. And once again, I thank you so much for joining us. This has been amazing. And I know that everyone who is listening and watching has really gotten some good information and good insight on what this whole dadager thing is like, right? So if you're ever out and you see all these kids on TV and it's like, yes, there are amazing dads standing behind them too, because I even had my daughter sometimes be in interviews. It's like, well, I'm sure your mom. And it's like, well, she has a dad too, or just don't just assume, we have some superstar dads out here, like, that are making the world go round as well,
I told this guy, I said, the Olsen twins, when I had a dad ask me about that, like, I was negotiating the contract for Taylor. And I had to take off almost manager and dad and say, now you're going to meet Dudley Dickens, and so, and basically I had to lay down, like, here's what you're not going to do. Right. And it was this, this smuck remark in a sense, slight remark, like, dad's muscling his way. And I told him, I said, when the Olsen twins, dad, this guy was known to be a shrewd business person. Shrewd. And you applaud him and because you see the end result, and you applaud him and you say, oh, what a great job he's done. I say, so what's the difference? Why is it that when I do it, it's there's a problem with it?
Right. I get it. You have to protect. That's our job, to protect our children. So it makes complete sense to me. They need the structure, and they need to know that we're there to not only guide them through all these processes, but also to support them and to make sure that they come out through these things unharmed. And like you said, with her being in the meetings, she can sit in the next meeting and remember and learn as she grows. So I think that's another lesson here. Bring the kids in, so we can be on the phone negotiating the deal, the modeling contract, but they need to be a part of that as well. Because if they don't learn it, if something happens to you, or if you decide you want to move in a different direction, everything shouldn't just stop. So the children, they need to learn how to also manage their business. So if we're the managers, we're the momagers, the dadagers, but the children still need to learn how to manage their own business, so that's really important. Right. So Vernon, what would you say to any parents that we have that might be watching or listening that are just starting out and they're trying to figure out how to manage or support their child's huge dream? What would you say to them if they're feeling doubtful, or they're not sure if they have enough energy, if they can fit it into their life, and oh my gosh, she wants to make jewelry, or oh my goodness, he wants to sell cookies, or he wants to have a lemonade stand. How is this going to work? What would you say to them?
I would say take your children's passion seriously. First of all, if it was pickup sticks that Taylor wanted to do, we would be having a pickup stick company. So take them seriously. I always equate it to say, if I can get up and build somebody else's empire of any sort, to put 8 hours into someone else's building their dream, surely I can put time into building my child.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's the mentality you should have to say, look, and give your children options. I think knowledge is power, but access is the key that children lack, is access. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, I would think as you get older, you would get a little wiser, ideally. So, make sure that you give your kids access to things to make themselves better, and monetize on what they have. I don't think everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur, but I think deep down inside, I tell my students this all the time: everyone wants to be the man or the woman.
Right.
You may not want to admit it, but you do.
You do.
Yeah. So help your child, because there's so many things that go on, and teach and supporting them that will carry over into life. And it may not become an entrepreneur, but they'll have that confidence to say, man, I remember when I wanted to do this crazy thing and my parents supported me. Or I remember when I had this idea and, my dad was like, all right, let's do it. I remember Taylor wanted to sell her paintings, and I told the guy, my daughter's the next Picasso. And then when she was selling the toothbrushes, I told them I said, my daughter's a mogul. And
yeah.
But this is the stuff that we knew we wanted, something that we knew Taylor would have something.
Right.
That we absolutely, the success that she's had and the speed that has happened was all organic.
Mm-hmm.
The energy behind it was that, trust me, mom and dad were jumping and dancing and enjoying every single moment of it, just like Taylor. So it's like, don't take yourself too serious. I think sometimes, especially with social media, it's easy to put off something that you're not.
Right. The highlights.
Yeah. Don't take yourself too serious. Today your daughter may be selling cookies and you say, I don't want to do this anymore. That's okay. I think the thing is to, if you start something, finish it. But what I say to a parent, I feel like I was digressing. Support your kids, because if you don't, if you don't build your children, believe me, somebody else will. There's a when I saw that, it struck a nerve with me when I said own or be owned.
Yes.
You know, and
Own or be owned.
yeah,
I love that. That's you. I mean, I think I've said I love that like 8 times in the last 20 minutes because I'm just like,
it struck
that's
a chord with
good.
me.
I love it. That's good. That's good. Thank you so much for that, Vernon. So I have another question, and it's in regards to legacy. I know we talked a little bit about legacy, and the importance of legacy. So what would you say that your young mogul, what would Taylor say the legacy you are leaving for her would be?
You know, that's a question that actually keeps me up at night. Legacy. Um, Taylor's an only child, so we don't have to think to say, well, my son, if you don't do it, my son would take it over. Um, I think Taylor would see that, would say my dad positioned me in the best possible positions
Mm-hmm.
to be successful. Not even my dad, my parents positioned me to be in the best position to be successful. My parents allowed me to have access. So the legacy would be, my dad was my mom. They were builders, and they built a wall for basically for me to stand on, you know, and look over and get to where, and they put checks and balances in place. You know, I have a bust of Taylor being made, and it's for the Taylor Moxey Museum that doesn't even exist yet. You know, we have a logo with Taylor Moxey University. Doesn't exist yet, but all these things are put in place to say, you know, I would think that. What's your legacy? What's your child going to say when you're gone?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are you going to leave on this earth when you're gone? And my goal as a father is to leave this earth empty, in the sense knowing that I poured everything I know into my child.
Wow.
You
That's
know,
powerful. That is powerful. Intention, the planning, like that's amazing. Thank you so much for that. I
you know,
appreciate it. I really do. So thank you, thank you, thank you for spending this time with us. I am so grateful. I still am like super excited that I had this opportunity because, and then like, so let me tell you all how this happened. Like I wrote something in the group and Vernon commented and I was like, well, I'd kind of love to like talk to you about something like that. And he's like, sure, anytime, inbox, please, let's schedule. I was like, yes, this is great. And then I told Jimmy.
I was thinking next year or something like
No,
that.
I was like, how about tomorrow? He's like, okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I get a joy about, I see what your daughter's built. And Taylor is 11. And so Taylor introduced me to you. It's Zandra.
Yeah, Sandra. Yeah.
Am I pronouncing it right?
Zandra.
Zandra. That's the Bahamian in me. And we met her at the Step into Greatness conference
Yes.
in Philadelphia. And Taylor came home and was like, this girl is doing this, and she's doing that, she's doing this, so I started following her. And there's this thing behind every successful child, they're standing on shoulders of parents that actually cut the way and pave the way for them, and are raising them up. And but they, that's with respect to say you did it on your own, but no one's an island. Nobody does stuff on their own. There's a village behind it.
You're right.
I really respect what you and your husband do for your daughter. And
Thank
what
you so much. I
it's
appreciate that.
an example for us for sure. We watched.
I love that. I appreciate that. And we are watching you. We're like, this is a close-knit community, and you have to support each other and look out for each other and pray for each other. And I'm just excited that our families are connected. I'm grateful for the relationship. And, and I just can't wait to see these kids grow and continue to change lives and be change makers and, develop and build. Because the more they do, like we talked about the more money they make, the more people's lives they're changing.
Yeah.
The more people help. So thank you so much, Sir Vernon Moxey, for taking the time. Look at that tie. I love it. For taking the time to chat with us this evening and pour upon us your wisdom and being the ideal dadager. I am just so proud to say that I know you, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Well, the feeling's mutual. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Setting an example for us. You know, we're new to this. We're babies to this industry. You guys are, you and Gabrielle and the rest of you guys are, you know, like almost like the Godfathers, the Godmother.
Listen, you should see me when who do I call when I need help? I'm like, Marcella, I need, you know, so now we'll be texting you and your wife next. Like, how do we do? Let me help you. And that's what this is all about, you know. And Vernon, I know you were like, love that you're doing this. And I want people to know, you know, what our world is like, you know, and we have to lean on each other, and we don't have all the answers. But like you said, I make a mistake once, and we try not to repeat that again. You know, lesson learned, and we move on, and we keep having fun and letting our child be free and creative, and we just kind of see what happens, and we support them along the way. You know, it's intentional, but there's some wiggle room. You know, we have intention of what the end goal is, but at the same time, we're having fun, and we're just you know, letting them live, and we're there to pick up the pieces, hold them up, and keep them together, and that's it. So I want to thank everyone for, first of all, Vernon, once again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is going to be the conclusion of our show. I want to thank you all for joining us. Once again, my name is Tamara Zantel. You can catch me normally on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for this Raising a Mogul TV and podcast show. But tonight was a wonderful night. I had a special guest, so it is Thursday, I know, but it's okay. Every now and then when an opportunity presents itself, you have to jump in it, and just let it happen, you know, because I want you all to get this information. The purpose of this platform is to come to you weekly, provide tips, tools, and thought leaders that can help you nurture, support, and manage your young moguls.